connect with our reporting team. Sumit and Sumita, they both are ready. And Sumita, are you at the press conference? I can see a blur at the backdrop.
Yes, sir. In fact, the press conference got wrapped up just a short while back. There was, of course, a foreign secretary who made the big announcement of, there being a ceasefire or an agreement to hold talks further. And then after that, there was a press conference that was held with army representatives. The army representatives largely spoke on the fact that Pakistan is spreading a disinformation campaign. Their claims about destruction of airfields was a false claim. They had shown pictures as well that were taken this morning. They also spoke about the fact that, while Pakistan has tried to spread and stoke communal tensions, but that is all based in misinformation and disinformation. Pakistan, in fact, has suffered heavy and unsustainable losses after giving India unprovoked attacks. Now, an important point to note is that, Government of India sources are also telling us on the ceasefire that will be brought about is that India's stance on terror will remain the same. It will remain firm. It is not looking at escalating anything, provoking any country. However, it will remain, steadfast in its response. Sources are also suggesting that there is not going to be any precondition to do these talks. Remember, the DGMOs of both countries are going to start these talks, perhaps on, the larger negotiations, the larger agreements from both sides. So there is not going to be any precondition. And India's diplomatic actions that were taken right after a dastardly attack happened in Pahalgam, in Jammu and Kashmir, those diplomatic actions will remain in force, whether it's related to the IWT or the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance. There will not be any rollback on visas and several other announcements that were made. So this is not, these are not things that India will be negotiating on. These talks will continue virtually because we were just speaking to a couple of diplomats and ambassadors who were stating that a neutral location could be taken. Could be UAE, could be Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia has also been actively trying to mediate, but these talks will continue virtually, is what sources are telling us. And the most important point is the fact that this process of, coming to an agreement to have a ceasefire has been done bilaterally. It is not brokered by the United States, is what sources are telling us.
Further, the inside story. What is the inside story here? I mean, the afternoon, early morning, when the press conference was done by the, by the foreign secretary, it appeared that things were escalating, or they had already escalated. Let me put it this way, because the Indian, government went on record and they confirmed there was frontline movement by the Pakistani army. And that kind of a frontline movement has only happened, according to sources, after the parliament attack. So between now and then, it's only been 8 hours, but the world has changed. So what has led to this change, Sumit? What is the andar ki khabar, the inside story, as we say?
Well, if we really think about what has been happening over the last few days, India started in mind. It had to avenge the massacre of the tourists. Well, it started with that. Over the next 2 days, Pakistan responded. There were, if you really see, it's going to be a time when India has achieved its objective, limited objective it had to achieve. It has shown the world that it has military supremacy over Pakistan. Though Pakistan also tried to hit back at India, in a way showed the world its S-400 work. So that was for the purpose of overall world, to show the world we have achieved what we wanted to achieve. But behind the scenes, the diplomacy was happening, was going on. Today also in the morning, Marco Rubio spoke to both of them and Pakistan. Both sides, they knew that the escalation on higher than this would be devastating. So both sides, in a way, have achieved what they wanted to achieve. India has shown the world that it has hit at the heart and the mother of the terrorists. Pakistan has shown its people that it has, in a way, retaliated. So objectives have been achieved. And here, the peacemakers, they did come in, and they did come in this evening in the form of who better than the monitor of the world, the class monitor in a way, which is US. And US has come in and broken the peace for temporary peace, but it looks like it's going to stay this. So India has achieved the objective, and both countries have in a way shown to their people that one has done what it wanted to do, the other has defended. Yeah, but or behind the scenes, the hectic activity was going on. Remember, if we see the meetings happening every day, every hour, which happen in the front of cameras, which means
there are visuals coming from the Prime Minister's residence. Do we have those visuals? Well, yes, I think we'll just take them up. But before we wrap, my colleague Yavar Bhatt joins us. And Yavar, exactly 24 hours ago, in the valley, there was uneasiness, there were tensions, there was fear, and there was offensive military activity by the Pakistan army. Can I say, thank God, things are looking up, and it would be a really good evening for everyone in Kashmir today.
Well, it looks like so, because over the past several days, the entire J&K was reeling under an intense tense. The borders were flare up. There was a continuous ceasefire violation. The civilian villages were bombed, and there has been the casualties to the civilians. At least 21 civilians have lost their lives in past 4 days in the Jammu and Kashmir after the India's strike on the Pakistan, and Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. So it looks like that after the India and Pakistan had announced the ceasefire, and it will be the calm evening this time in the Srinagar or elsewhere, which has been witnessed number of drone activities, number of drone attacks over the past 24 hours, and the houses were shook up by the explosive that were heard multiple times across the Srinagar city since late last evening. So there was this statement that came in from the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah shortly before we spoke to him in the Srinagar, and he addressed the media there saying that it is a welcoming step and this should have been done long back so that the lives would have not been wasted. There was a statement from the Mehbooba Mufti. There was a statement from the Dr. Farooq Abdullah, three-time former Chief Minister of the J&K and the National Conference President. All are welcoming in a single tone. Now remember that the Kashmir, the Jammu, they have suffered a lot due to this attack carried out by the Pakistan a number of times, be it in the form of the ceasefire violation or carrying out the strikes, the missile strikes, the drone strikes in the cities and elsewhere close to the borders, international borders and the line of control. So this seems that this pact, this ceasefire will eventually help both the international borders as well as to the line of control to have at least calmness, at least a sense of peace that prevails. And there is a one side of stories all across, but remember that many of the things have been put in place. That India was categorically saying that they are in the favor of de-escalation, but not on the cost of national interest and the sovereignty of the country. But today, after the DGMO level talk were held, this has been the scene all across that finally India and Pakistan has agreed to end the 4-day long standoff along the line of control and in the international borders. Back to you.
Well, Yavar, thank you very much. In case you've just tuned in, I'm just going to read the flash, and I think that itself is the most powerful flash, which is just a sum and summary of how dramatic things have been between India and Pakistan after the Pahalgam attack. Operation Sindoor, it was launched on Monday night, Tuesday morning, then 48 hours of intense military action on both the sides of the war. Indian defense forces again have demonstrated their zeal, their ability, their commitment, that why they are the best in the world. Not one of the best in the world, the best in the world. They moved mountains, did not leave anything unturned to really protect the citizens of India. So a big thank you and a heartfelt thank you to all the armed forces for really shouldering this responsibility at a time when the nation really needed it. Now coming to today's news, the ceasefire, it is unconditional. The Donald Trump, the US president, took to his social media handle to really announce it. But for me, I think the real backstory could be there are several more considerations when a ceasefire is announced. Economic conditions, considerations of military might. Nobody wins in a war. Nobody will, wins in a conflict. So this, I think, is logical and sensible. I may also want to add that this is a ceasefire without any conditions, which means there is no change in terms of the sanction on the Indus Treaty. The diplomatic back channeling will continue. It will happen virtually, but the sheer endorsement and acknowledgement which has come from Pakistan and from the Indian government to Indian government and Pakistan, at least we can say that the border states now can breathe a sigh of relief. It was not getting dangerous, but it was certainly there were certainly some nervous moments when, just imagine if you are in that part of India, if you're in that border surrounding area, when there are sirens, when there are explosions which have been heard, when drones are crossing, it just gives you that uneasy feeling at the bottom of the pit. Having said that, every Indian was confident that the military might of India will reign supreme, and that is what has exactly happened. So with a lot of delight and with a smile on my face, let me just end this very special coverage of what is happening on the border front.